So there's a handful of things that I kind of wish people would talk about in the finance space, because really there's a lot of things that go on psychologically when you're dealing with finances and building wealth, and really talking about how to grow your portfolio and investing and all these things that we talk about here on this channel when we're talking about business and personal finance. And one of those things is being scared of failing. I think it is very normal, really, to be scared of failing, because it's just kind of part of the nature of doing something. When you're taking action, like, what happens if you fail? What happens if you can't achieve what you set out to do? What happens if you make it a super big public thing, like making a YouTube channel where you talk about money? Then it makes it really hard to talk about money if you're not doing great, or if, you come into a job loss, or your investment doesn't pan out the way it works, or your business fails, or like countless things. It's very hard to talk about that with people because you've made it such a public thing. But let's say even if you keep it private, you're still having to process the emotions of, I went out after this goal and I failed. I didn't achieve it. I wish people in the finance space talked about that more. The failed investments, the failed businesses, the failed endeavors that we take. I don't want to be too negative on this channel, but it is something that's very real. And so I wanted to talk about that in today's video. I do want to emphasize the importance of taking into consideration that you might fail, you might lose, you're probably going to at some point or another in this finance journey, and kind of 3 ways of how I come out of ruts whenever I'm, in that dark space, down in the depth of, I don't know if I'm going to make it out. I'm scared of failing. I have failed before. I'm scared I'm going to lose it all. Things like that. All of the different, voices in your head, things going through your mind. I want to talk about that in today's video. So for me personally, I feel this way where, you're scared of failing a couple different times. Mostly I feel it whenever I'm, doing something new in business, whether that's buying another machine or investing in new product or new inventory or some type of new infrastructure for my business, a new program, learning a new skill. Every time I do that, there's a little voice in the back of my head that's just asking, what if this is all for nothing? What if the payout never comes? Another example would be in personal finance. I'll make a budget and I just say at the beginning of every month, what if I completely lose everything? All my investments, all my savings? What if my income drops to 0? What if I lose my job? What if the business goes under? And it's not the only thing racing through my mind. There's a lot of positivity there that I try to keep there. It's going to be okay. These things are lining up. These things are going to work out. This is how this is going to work. This is going to go well. But it's still part of my thoughts of, what if everything turns to dust and everything leaves and everything breaks? But so let's go ahead and move on to the first point, which is recognizing where you're at. The way I do this, let's say I'm scared that all my investments are going to go to 0. They haven't yet. So I want to recognize this is where I'm at. I have this many thousands invested. I have it invested in these specific ETFs or these specific retirement funds. I'm in this much of the S&P 500, whatever it is. I take an inventory. In a way, it's counting your blessings. But at the same time, it's remembering that, no, you're not at 0 yet. You're still there. You're still doing okay. Everything's going to be okay. And then that brings me to point number 2, which is recognize where you're going. Where are you right now? And then you can see, well, where is this going? Some people, I think, act confused. I think they think that, just because I have this big bill coming up that I'm going to end up losing everything. It's not. You have one thing coming up and you know what you need to do to handle it. But you act confused so that you don't have to take action. If you just start doing the thing, it makes it a lot easier. But you got to know where you're heading. If you know there's big bills coming up, or there's not big bills coming up, and you can save the difference and be prepared for when they do show up, I think that really puts us in a good perspective of, we've seen where we are and we know where we're going. Eventually, I will hit the goals that I want. And then that brings me to point number 3. Recognize the action steps you need to take to get there. So to bridge the gap between once you've recognized where you are and recognize where you're going, what are the action steps that you need to take? Things you can actually do. You can think yourself into a rut. You can think yourself into a pit, but you can't think yourself out of it. You have to act out of it. If you know you have $10,000 saved and you know you need to get to 20, well, what can you do this month, this day, this week to get closer to that goal? Maybe that's picking up an extra shift. Maybe that's, investing extra money. Maybe that's getting a second job. It's your goal for a reason, and you have to find those action steps to push through and get there. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you have gotten value out of it, please drop a like and comment down below what I should talk about next. I want a lot of this channel to be not just videos that other people have made, because obviously there's no point in that. I want to make these videos where maybe it's the things that I'd want to watch on YouTube. And I love watching personal finance and business videos. I could talk about this for literally ever. But seeing people not really talk about the actual psychology side of it, on how it is normal to feel scared that you're going to lose it all. That's why I wanted to make this video. Hey, if you're new here, consider subscribing. It really does help out the channel. We're trying to hit 1,000 subs. And so if you guys do appreciate this channel, check out some of my other videos down below. I'll see you all in the next one. Adios.